Hello, colleagues. My name is Kelly Roberts, and I chose to look at the media portrayal of fundamentalist Christianity during the Scopes trial. And the main figure that I chose to focus on is a satirist and journalist, also cultural critique H.L. Mencken. And he covered the trial for the Baltimore Sun in detail and really rose to fame during his coverage of this as sort of the voice of the American modernist. Um, in fact, he became so famous that, as we see in our study of TV hosts today, that he kind of had to keep the controversy going to keep himself in power and just continually kind of beating on this racial, political, and economic and cultural divide that all of these kind of ideas of Americanism fell into. Mencken was there on the first day of the trial, and he wrote, "I expected to find a squalid southern village with darkies snoozing on the horse blocks, pigs rooting under the houses, inhabitants full of hookworm and malaria. But what I found was a town full of charm and even beauty." You can see how he's starting to paint Christianity and Christians or any sort of fundamentalist sects in the South, that they are hayseeds, they're backward, they're not modernists. They aren't able to catch up educationally or industrially with the North. So we see these rifts of North versus South, and Republican versus Democrat, Christian versus modernist, fundamentalist versus modernist, all playing out, and then white versus black. We also have segregation in the South that the Scopes trial so conveniently looks over at this point in time. And so we look at really William Jennings Bryant's um, actions here, and some literature I've read about him said that he really wasn't an orthodox fundamentalist. He was really more of a politician. And granted, he was a Christian, and he believed that public schools shouldn't be teaching things that nobody's a fan of, or that isn't, embraced by the culture as a whole. That he was really concerned about the democracy of public education, that the people's interests should be served and not just the liberal agenda, which I think we see a lot with the critical race theory controversy playing out in our daily life now. So he was a politician, and he used his platform with Christianity against evolution to try to up the conservative ante politically. However, H.L. Mencken, on the other hand, was the liberalist of the liberal, and he called it a religious orgy in Dayton, Tennessee. He talked about how there were the Seventh-day Adventists, the Campbellites, the Holy Rollers, and a dozen other occult sects have field agents on the ground. So he just spends every waking moment of his writing and his public platform to really continue to stereotype the Southern conservative. And in the end, we really see that when Clarence Darrow cross-examines William Jennings Bryant, Brian, he sees that it's not all about fundamentalist Christianity, but it really is just about perspective and how the media really takes hold of this. And instead of maybe attending to racial issues or segregation issues or equality issues, they just really look at these, what we see even today are known as culture wars.